So, like JJ was saying, our story is not a sad story. I mean, there's the potential that it could be, but right now, CF is a progressive disease, and our daughter is pretty healthy right now. So we're not sad. Certainly we're scared at times, but right now, I would say that the feeling that I feel the most is hope and confidence. And I say hope and confidence about Sloan's future with cystic fibrosis. JJ and I, we're from Texas A&M. You guys a lot of y'all are construction folks. You're probably familiar with the type of people down in Texas A&M. I don't think that we're probably different from y'all in a lot of ways. A lot of our buddies in college, since we were college sweethearts, were construction science, civil engineering majors, and I think it's just it's a certain type of person, down to earth, hardworking people, grateful for what we have, and try to give back what we can, when we can, and if we can. I always saw myself as one of the people that would be in the crowd at one of these events. It's really just not my personality to be the one who's up here asking y'all to give to our cause. But I say that to say that I wouldn't be standing up here right now if I wasn't 100% confident that every single dollar that gets raised today and on Monday and that's been raised already isn't going to be directly beneficial to my daughter and to the other 30,000 people in the United States with CF and the other 70,000 people in the world with CF. So I mentioned that we have confidence about our daughter's story with cystic fibrosis. That's because of people like y'all and companies like Hewitt that come to events like this that are hosted by the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. As Ian was saying earlier, in the 50s, the expected life expectancy was kindergarten age, and now it's almost 40. In that span, a bunch of drugs have come out that were developed specifically for cystic fibrosis to make that happen. And now we have another drug called Kalydeco that basically, I'm not going to bore you guys with the science, but it gets down to the molecular level and fixes the thing that is wrong. It causes a lot of the problems in a CF's body. But I could even bore you more with telling you why, but it only works for 4% of the people out there that have cystic fibrosis. So we're talking about 1,200 people in the United States that this works for. But for those 4% that it is working for, it's a game changer. It has turned a lot of people's lives around, and it's been a breath of hope into individuals with CF and individuals who have kids with CF or other family members. We're also very close to making that 4% turn into an extra 50% because of other Cystic Fibrosis Foundation funded research that is going on right now and are in FDA trials. There's a really realistic possibility that by the time my daughter is 4 or 5, she might be on one of those pills as well. And we don't know what it will do, but we're hoping that it'll do a lot more than what she currently has. And on the horizon, there's a lot of other things in the pipeline, and it's realistic that on the horizon we can get to that 90% or that 100%, or one day find an actual, real, bona fide cure for cystic fibrosis. And that's the reason why we do events like this. That's the reason why we need y'all. We don't owe these advances in cystic fibrosis patients' lifespans necessarily to the time we've had to research or government funding or even all of the brilliant scientists and doctors who are working on cystic fibrosis. And that's not to minimize what the doctors and scientists are doing. We're going to be indebted to our doctors and all the researchers that are working on this disease for the rest of our lives, and so is our daughter. They do amazing, amazing work, and they're ultimately trying to get to a point where they're putting themselves out of a a job, because if you cure CF, you know, they're out of work. They got to move on to something else. And that's our hope, and that's their hope as well. But the reason these advances come from the money that is raised at events like this, because of what the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation does with that money, does with your donations. 90 cents of every single dollar that is donated today and to all the other events goes to research and development for drugs, treatments, and finding a cure. The unique thing about cystic fibrosis is that it's a rare disease. You've probably heard of it because of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation putting it out there, but only 70,000 people in the entire world have this disease. And since it's a rare disease, it just hasn't had a lot of research done relative to other bigger things such as AIDS or cancer or, you know, any other things that you can probably think of. And what makes CF unique is what we need to cure this disease isn't time, brilliant scientists, or government funding. What we need is money. And that is how this, as Ian said, I can't remember the exact tagline, but it was something to the effect of money buys science and that buys a cure. So tonight we ask you that when you give, know that the money that you're giving is being used in the most effective way possible to find a cure for my daughter and others. And I want to say thank you very much to all of y'all. Like I said, this is not necessarily where I saw myself standing, but I'm happy to be up here, you know, trying to make a difference and asking y'all to help us make a difference for our daughter and the other 70,000 people in the world who have this disease. So tonight we're going to start with what is probably the most important bid of the night, which is the bid for a cure. 100% of every dollar that's donated to the bid for a cure is tax deductible, and we ask that when you give from the heart, not necessarily till it hurts, but until it feels good. Hopefully that feeling occurs somewhere in the range of $100 to $5,000. And we don't necessarily want to just receive and not give anything back, so we're going to try to make it